Hey, John, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Of
This is
course.
this has been months of me hounding you.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well earned.
get well, I guess the place to start is how long you been in real estate for?
It's a good question. I should probably ask friends who joined at the same time. I'm gonna say 16 years,
16?
maybe. Yeah, maybe 17.
What made you get into this?
A game of pool with our mutual friend Jamie Green.
Fuck
I was
off.
working, yeah, I was working offshore. Jamie was too. You know Jamie
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
nautical science graduates. We were working on different types of ships.
Yeah.
And we just had a game of pool, and he just randomly said, "Man, real estate seems like a good gig, hey?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he just started telling me about it. And then I brought Jamie home. And on my drive home, I called and I quit my job. And then I called the real estate board and I said, "How do you become an agent?" And they said, "You need to pass an exam." In Newfoundland, it's one exam. So I drove down to the real estate board, NLAR, and picked up the materials. And as I grabbed my books, because they were physical books then,
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, when can I write the exam?" And she said, "You need a week's notice." And I said, "When's the next one?" And she said, "In 7 days." And I said, "I'll take it." So, and then you could get licensed really quick back then. It's really backlogged now, but
You
I could
quit.
probably pick up a license, within a week or so. So 2 weeks after talking to Jamie, I was working in a mom and pop local real estate company here in town, selling real estate 2 weeks later.
You hold on. How long did it take Jamie to get his license? Because he's an overthinker.
Yeah, he came about a year after me. So he had already mapped it out, and he realized it was a good career. And then I dove in, and I did basically starve to death at the beginning. The next time he saw me, I'm driving a stick shift car, the brakes are crap. I'm gearing down, trying to slow down. I remember him going, two things: "Do you want a sandwich? And should I not get into this?" I'm like, "No, no, it's gonna work. Trust me."
So you had a game of pool, quit your job without doing anything to be a realtor, and then became a realtor 2 weeks
Quit the
later.
job first. I don't recommend it if you're mentoring and tutoring people to get into the business, even though I'm here however many years later, 16. Now you understand why I don't know how many years it's been that I've been in the business. However, don't recommend that to your new people. Study a little bit, get prepared, maybe financially have yourself set. You know, the things that come with just being an adult. I skipped most of those things.
And you said your first year you floundered. So how was the first year? Was it a rude awakening for how the business works?
Um, I sort of floundered. So I was on my own and I was working your typical, realtor joins, 80% of them don't make it 18 months kind of thing. So I was at a company and I remember asking my broker, how do I get leads? How do I close them? And he just said, "Go get them, kid." I'm like, that's not helpful at all. I floundered for a little while, but I had a previous career, right? So I had the car with the car payment and we had a house, albeit a small one, but you go broke really quickly when your income goes to zero, even if you're financially sound.
Yeah.
So it was really quickly going to zero. And then I kept noticing the sales board, they would still, sorry, I'm going to cough. They would still write all the sales in the office of who did what on the handwritten dry erase board.
Yeah.
And there was a particular team there that was just all the time.
Okay.
And I went and knocked on the door, and it's just me being me, said, I don't know what's happening in this room that's not happening out here, but I clearly need to be in this room. What does that look like? And that was it. So they brought me on as a buyer's agent at the time. And
Okay.
that was probably, 60 days into my career. But at that point in time, I had sold one mobile home.
Yeah.
And you know the way real estate works, you sell something and then if you owe a bill to your traditional real estate brokerage, they take their bill first. So they took my money and they gave me the rest of the invoice for what I owed left. And I'm like, whoa. So I joined those guys and, they started throwing me some leads and things that they didn't want to do.
Yeah.
The stuff that was an hour drive that they were too busy to do,
Crap work.
the crap work that you had to grind, somebody who was troublesome or who gave you grief, who
Yeah.
was a crappy person who yelled at you and thought real estate agents were the devil. All those people were my people then. So sort of
Trial
sort
by
of grounded
fire.
out. Yeah, yeah. So the next 12 months after that, I probably did 30-ish, 35 transactions or something in the next 12 months that followed. So I went
Okay.
from 60 days of I don't think I'm going to make it here to the next 12 months of going, okay, I'm starting to learn some stuff here now. This is I get how this works now.
Right. So okay. How long were you with that team for?
I stayed with that team for a while. I did a few jobs in there, inside sales agent type stuff. Um, I probably spent a couple of years there if I'm thinking back right.
Yeah,
I was definitely over a year. Was it too full? Maybe more. It was somewhere in that range.
somewhere in that range. And then when what made you wanna go out on your own? You're having success with this team, they're giving you leads, you're learning how the business works. What made you think, "I think I can do this somewhere else on my own?"
I didn't. I wanted a piece of the pie because I thought I was good enough to grow, and
Okay,
I didn't want to leave. And in the years after I left, I wish I hadn't because it was the best real estate experience I'd ever had in that point in time. So
okay.
being a solo agent, Jamie was on that team for a while. We would always say, man, you don't realize the good old days are there when you're in them, right? And
Yeah,
at the time, that was our best real estate experience to date. So I spent the next
okay.
couple of years looking for a brokerage of where I wanted to work. I was capable of producing now. I understood the grind, but I didn't like solo life whatsoever, and I actually wanted to be a part of that team deeper. Whether it was buying into it or I wanted the role, and there just wasn't one there at the time. Uh,
Let me stop you there for a second. You said you want a piece of the pie. So, you're at this team, you're happy, you're making money, you're finally figuring out how to be a realtor, and you started thinking, okay, when you say piece of the pie, are you talking about you want equity or some ownership stake of that team, or you want to be invest in the team in some way?
Yeah, it could have been either. Like I would have been happy to invest if there was an ownership stake. I would have been happy to do that as my camera falls. Let me adjust you. Um, I would have been happy, maybe having people underneath me that I could help mentor. I've always had an itch, which I'm sure this conversation is going to go to,
Well,
of
we will.
training and teaching and coaching people. And for some reason, I'm a sucker for punishment, and I enjoy spending time with realtors. Um, crazy, I know. So even that, like even if it was small drips of helping people, and truthfully, I probably would have helped a lot of people for free for a long time. So it was just it was a passionate thing of how I wanted to spend my time.
Right.
And that particular team was just about let's sell units and however much we make is great. And if you go, you're replaceable kind of thing. And it's a lot of teams. I can't fault them for that. And they had a good system for what it was. I knew what it was, and it
Yeah.
worked, and they did well. Oddly enough, all of the people who ran that team are no longer in the business now. Funny enough,
Huh.
everybody's
Okay.
moved on. So I learned a lot. Thankful for that. More thankful in my later years looking back on it than I was in my 20s being a part of it. So
Right.
trying to make
Right.
amends with that too over the years, right?
So, okay, you realized you want something different out of this real estate gig for what you want to do, and then you decide I'm not getting it here. So, what do you next?
So solo agent was the next thing,
Yeah.
and then trying to figure out which brokerage do you solo agent at.
Okay.
And I ran the gamut. I've been at a lot of them. So if I was to give you a list, I've worked at a lot of places, and I really wanted to see what they were because at the time, hopefully this statement is humorous and doesn't get me in trouble. Yet the major differences between them with real estate brokerage was there was generally a male figure who probably had 20 to 30 years experience who was the broker owner, and they all said they would train you, and your colors were different and your fees and splits were different, but I couldn't determine what was actually different when I got there, and that
Yeah.
bothered me for a long time. So I flopped around looking for a fit that was good for me
Yeah.
because my environment motivates me very much so, or it demotivates me heavily if it's not working for me. And
Okay.
I had a few years of demotivation trying to find where I should fit. So I tried this for a year, that for 2 years. I would give it a good go, but if it wasn't clicking for me, I knew something else.
Right.
But I probably knew early on without identifying it that I really didn't want to just follow a mold of wake up, grind leads, sell homes, start again tomorrow. I think I wanted to build something
Okay.
that had substance for me and substance for others that deserved it. That I think that was always in the back of my mind.
Okay. I always say the same thing. I've been licensed since 2017, so I'm 8 years in. And I always say about brokerages, it's just a place to park your license. Like they're not taking roll call. There is sales training, but if you don't show up and put the effort in for the sales training, like you're not getting anything out of it. Like they're not being like you're a brand new agent. They're not calling you like, hey man, you've not made sales in 6 months. Come in and get some work done. If you haven't made sales in 6 months, they're like, hey, we still need our money.
Yeah, yeah, we need your rent. It's a big building. We need to pay
Yeah.
for this bad boy. So if you could get that into us, will be awesome.
Yeah. So okay, where did you find so you're a solo agent going brokerage to brokerage trying to figure out where was the fit. I know you ended up at KW.
Yes.
So that was the place at the time that you thought was the best fit for you?
Yeah, it was the most unique. Like as I looked around and switched brokerages, nothing was really changing.
Yeah.
And then we looked up KW, which was new to here. At the time, it only had 10 or 12 agents, and it was kind of a rush startup because another brokerage had closed and a lot of people were looking for places to go. And then it was sort of expedited into motion here. And I think it actually incubated underneath the Nova Scotia Keller Williams office.
Yeah. Yep.
So went there and it was so I don't want to say radically different because it's not true yet. It was different. It was build a business minded and it was heavily training focused and it had a lot of the things that I was looking for. I was just hesitant because I didn't know if it was the same pitch as before. But
Right.
then they started dipping into other things like potential for passive revenue streams and stuff like that. And that completely blew my mind. And then as I sat with Ron Birmingham, who's still the awesome owner over there now, you probably know Ron well. Great guy, actually sat down with a roadmap and showed me the potential things that existed within the company. And very quickly within that same meeting, I remember a highlighter coming out circling Maps Coach. And I said to Ron, I want to be a Maps coach. Like, we're talking now. That's me. That's where I'm going. How do I get there? So instantaneously out of the gate, it was like, let's find the criteria for me to become a Maps coach so I can sell real estate, potentially make passive income, but also do that coaching thing.
Right. Okay. So they finally park your license. Were you working with Jamie at this time? Like, did you both go to KW together, or was he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
us and Jason Piercy came at the same time. So we all joined at the same time, sort of with an idea to see what is this? What can
Yep.
we do? A bunch of ideas, but no real direction. And let's just get in there and figure it out. But it seems like the place to be.
For people that don't know, what is a Maps coach at KW?
So it's an internal coaching program that they have. I won't do them a disservice by describing them wrong, but essentially it's subscription based coaching. So once you go through the criteria and you get into the program, I'll say for me, anyone in North America who signed up and wanted a Maps coach, they could get assigned to me or one of the other awesome Maps coaches that have qualified. So at
Right.
any moment's notice, you could get an email. Jason Paul, sign up. You're his new coach. Connect with him and let's get going. And now we talk on a weekly basis for accountability, for production, for business building. And I would be a subscription based coach for them that we would speak to 30 minutes once a week just to let's get you rocking. How come you didn't do it? Let's hear all your excuses. Let's get over them. Uh, a lot of that. So a coaching program, real estate sales coaching program.
Right. Okay. So you set up with KW. A Maps coach has a certain criteria. How many units did you have to sell to become a Maps coach?
At the time, and I don't know if it's different now because I'm going back. I'm going back probably 6 years ago or more.
Yeah.
At the time, you had to have 2 consecutive years of 75 plus transactions to qualify, and then there was a bunch of criteria, courses, designations you had to get internally with KW in order to qualify. So courses like Bold that you might have seen advertised and stuff like that. You had to
I've,
do Bold. You had to
I've
be a
done
team
both
captain.
twice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my bold journey was very similar to when I signed up at real estate, where I gave no notice and just dove in. I remember I was trying to do the unit production, and then I was taking courses that I had to do, like become a maps coach and stuff in Austin, Texas, while I was doing bold. But then I would get a strike for missing bold, so I'd have to do a bold 100 day every time I got back. So I was doing 100 lead generation calls every day to get rid of the strikes. It was bananas.
So, so you had to pay KW, and you would just essentially go 0 to 1,000 of
Yeah,
just
if I wanted to be a coach, I had to.
right.
I get discouraged when anybody tells you no, I guess. So the first year I looked into it, I was like, I'm not going to finish the year with my 75 units and I don't have the courses. So now I can't even start working on this goal until the next year.
Right.
So then by the time the next year rolled around, it's like I gotta knock this out of the park. I got 2 years of production. So I've got a 24-month calendar now to knock this out of the park. So it was go time then.
Okay. So when you finally get over the criteria and become a Maps coach, how do you find being a Maps coach?
I enjoyed it. Um, I still really like coaching. I don't like one size fits all coaching, I guess. Because I don't think that applies to everyone, but I think that's similar to a lot of coaching programs, whether it's group or solo. It's hard to tailor a specific model to individuals because then you're going to end up going where they hide the most, and then
Right.
that's not productive for the agent. So I get why it is the way it is, but it has its limitations for sure. That didn't work for me. So I didn't actually stay in maps coaching, despite
Okay.
the vicious grind. I didn't stay there very long.
How and at what point in this journey are you starting the team?
I had the team all the way throughout that. So when I first got to
All the
Keller
way through.
Williams, yeah, the team started essentially me and Jamie, one of the team when we first got there, and we added 2 agents somewhat early on, but never really took it super serious.
Okay.
Um,
So I know he bailed. He went to Nova Scotia.
but he moved. He moved.
He bailed. Um, So just so I could get this right, you're doing 75 transactions a year for 2 years to try and hit this MAPS coaching. You're doing all the bold, you're doing the 2 bold courses, you're doing all the extra criteria to become a MAPS coach, all while running a real estate team in Newfoundland.
Yeah, it was small at the time though. So it was me and Jamie and two other agents. And then when Jamie left, it was just me and two agents. But then the administrative assistant we had liked Jamie's organization and stuff like that, and didn't like my wingingness. So I was under the impression that I was going to drown really quickly and bailed.
Yeah.
So it turned upside down team wise really quickly.
Okay. And at what point did the team turn upside down? Like how like into this journey are we at? Like are we like in terms of like your map, like in that 2 year journey to get to MAPS coaching, did the team turn upside down in that space? Because I'm trying to figure out how much capacity you have for overwhelming yourself at this rate. Because I'm already overwhelmed listening to you work your work ethic.
Uh, you know what? I don't think I stopped long enough to really get it until it gets you to the point where you're like, just slow down a touch before you have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Um, in the moment, I don't remember if it was well, during the MAPS journey. I don't think it was. I think I went through MAPS afterwards. So I think getting the team back straightened away with a proper administrative hire had happened, and then diving back into MAPS
Okay.
happened very shortly after that.
Okay. So then you've fast forward to 2 years. Now you've done your MAPS coaching. It's how when did you realize it wasn't quite what you were looking for?
It was just the way the system operated. There was a lot of criteria that you had to have. Um, and it's criteria that works. It keeps the system in line. It works well. So by no means am I anti-maps. I think it's great. And I had a maps coach, several
Right.
of them for a long time. So I think it was good in that sense. I probably only stuck around for 6 months or less as an actual coach in there.
Okay. And so now we're at if you had 6 years ago you were a MAPS coach. Now we're into 2020, 2021 timeline. Judging by the
Yeah, yeah, that would have
stuff.
been because I spent 6 years at Keller, and I've been over three now at EXP, going on fourth. So we're talking starting that journey, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that would have took us into 2015, 16. I'm probably out before COVID for sure.
Okay. So now you're out of MAPS. You're still at KW. What when you realize MAPS isn't a fit, but you still want to coach, how do you pivot to start really getting into what coaching you want to do? And what does that even
Yeah.
look like?
So that was very much so the team at that point. It was, I think my path here is to have a system where I think I can run it myself in a manner that also runs well with the people that I have. And
Right.
there's one thing I realized with maps. Sometimes when you keep a system going in a particular manner, it has its benefits, but then sometimes people just don't respond well to the accountability, but it doesn't mean they're bad. They could have been really kick-ass people. So it was trying to find the right fit, the right culture-minded people to sit at a table together and then see what it would become. So I didn't intend for it to probably get as big as it's gotten now in this year. Um, and I'll just ask you real quick, are you getting that feedback loop? I'm hearing myself back.
I've got no feedback. No, I'm clear as day.
Yeah, I'm hearing myself back, so I'm just worried that you're gonna hear that on your recording.
I don't I mean I'm not hearing on my end.
Cool.
So
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so it was just adding members at that point in time. I didn't know which model I wanted to follow. Like, there's all these training models. It's like
Right.
add a showing assistant, add an administrator, add a virtual assistant, add this. And I actually, when you talk about overwhelm, I started to get in overwhelm at how much faith everybody had that there was only one model to work at the
Okay.
location I was working at. And that bothered me. I don't know why it bothered me. It just felt like a cornered fox where it's like you have to do it this way or else it doesn't work. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case.
Right.
And I wanted to sort of get out and work with the people at their strengths while also holding them accountable to all the things that work in sales. So that was kind of my thought process there.
Okay. Uh, So you realize you want to make it a little more tailored to the individual themselves while also keeping them accountable to what their day-to-day goals are, their monthly targets, help them accomplish their goals and real estate that they want to do,
For
essentially.
sure. Yeah. And the quality of the person was the number one thing. Like, I had realized there's certain people I want to spend my time with. And there were certain people I didn't enjoy spending my time with. And even to this date, you bring new people on and you struggle. Yet even our broker now at EXP came to me the other day. He's like, you seem happy. You seem like you got a right table full of people. And I said, I do. It's really the biggest anvil you could take off your shoulders is being surrounded by people who make you feel good.
Yeah.
So now that's important. I learned really quickly that somebody's unit production was supposed to be super valuable, but I'll happily cut it in half for an awesome person than to try and milk a really terrible person up to their maximum. So that became a number one driver as well of being surrounded by good people.
Okay, well, now I'm gonna lean into the team thing because now you start because you run that real estate team, which is finished 7th in units in sales in Canada for EXP last month for the month of November, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so huge accomplishment, obviously a very high a high level sales team. Um, how have you built that to how did you build it from the level it is when you started out where your administrator wants to leave because they have no faith in you and your systems and they think you're gonna fall apart. So now you run how many people are in the team? How many agents now?
So we just added a couple of new people now to see who's going to be a fit and stuff like that. We're hovering around 15 right now.
15 people on your team. How many are realtors?
14.
Four and then one admin?
Yeah.
So
And
you run a team
she's
of
maxed out.
I bet she yeah,
Yeah.
so
And not happy.
so you run a team of 14 realtors. How did you how did you go from having your administrator that has no faith in you, Jamie Green leaving, who was your right-hand man, because I remember when he moved to Nova Scotia. Uh,
He's gonna hate this. Technically, he moved to better his own life. He didn't move to spite me or anything.
I know. I still give him shit though, because it's fun. But you lose Jamie, you lose your admin. So how do you right that ship and realize, okay, this is what I want to do, and how do you get to where you are today? Now I know it's a long journey, so just work with me here as we go through it.
Yeah, no, it's probably not as long as you might think. Finding the right admin was the next fit because if you don't have any form of support, and I no offense to teams that are operating without forms of support, but if you don't have great back end support to get this paperwork trail off people's journeys in real estate, right off the hop, I don't know why people would be enticed to go there. So I knew I needed a kick ass administrator. And I went through a couple. The hiring process, like I made a lot of mistakes. I had people who didn't fit, who didn't last. I had people who didn't have great work ethic. I was following, again, recommended advice from people saying, here, you got to test them this way and got to ask them these questions. And then you really quickly learn that you can find out a lot about someone's personality, but it doesn't determine their work ethic whatsoever. So you just spent 6 weeks going through this process that was foolproof, and now you still got to start again. So a lot of that stuff happened. But once we got a good administrator, which funny enough, instead of following all these protocols, um, I had a conversation with somebody I was working with in a coaching program, and we kind of came up with the concept of why don't you go find a list of 5 people that if you could pick your choice, that's who would run the back end of your squad.
Okay.
And I made a list. I actually did make a list, and I could come up with 4 at the time. And I actually started reaching out to those people. Would you be interested in working here?
Right.
And one of them said yes. So that's how we actually got the right administrator. It took a while. Now that's a 4 month journey and trying to coax and trying to pitch visions and trying to get people on board, but actually got the right person to leave their job and come work with us,
Right.
which was the best thing that's ever happened because once that back end stability foundation is there, now you can do whatever you want because you're free to do with you what you want when you trust who's running it behind the scenes.
Right.
Once that was in place, adding agents was the next toughest part because when you're a relatively new team, everybody's like, what's your splits? And you tell them a split, and it doesn't matter what number you tell them. They're like, that's a lot of money to give away.
Yeah.
And then you find you're coaxing people then to try and see the forest from the trees, but you realize you're looking for the wrong people. So at the beginning, you might have actually been chasing the wrong people, trying to convince them to take a
Yep.
flyer on what you're going to do. And then you quickly realize that the people who say to you, well, if I do 15 deals now, but I go on a team and give away a 50-50 split, I could just do 7.5 and make the same amount of money. And you're like, you're exactly who I'm not looking for. But I was trying to convince you. I was trying to convince you to join at first. Now that we fast forward and we're doing lots of units and production and the system is good, the training system is really good, the accountability system is really good, the support system is fantastic. Now I get people reaching out to me wanting to join. So prospecting has completely changed because people want a piece of the pie now. Because when you see people like a Megan George on our squad selling 70 units herself now this year, people see that stuff. Multiple people selling over 40 units a year. People who are happy in their personal lives and stuff like that. People start to go, it might be different. So that's where we started to grow from there. Is once you get a couple of agents and they start producing, people start to notice and they want to be a part of something that's actually producing something.
Right.
So
Right.
then it creates a whole new can of worms. How do you keep people that are good before they feel like I felt when I was in the team that we talked about at the beginning?
So
I would
how do
agree.
you how do you find out like, hey, this would be a good fit? Because it used to be that 6 week journey you're talking about, or whatever, how long it's gonna be earlier on when you're talking about this. I know you were just running disc. I know you're running personality tests. I know that you were trying to identify like the markers of like what these guys are in terms of, are they high D's, high I's, high S's, high C's, like what's their strengths, what their weaknesses. The personality test spit out that they should be really good at this job, so we'll put them aligned with this job. But then you find out they don't want to work, and it does not. And everything else is fruitless if they don't want to work, and or are they that IQ test or that personality test might be great, but then you have to find out, are they coachable? Can you hold them accountable? That's where I know you, and the fact that you are one of the most hilariously high accountable people I know. I love it because I come from a coaching, like I've been coached at high level sports, so I'm used to that life. So I've got no problem with it. But I also know people that have sat down with you, come back to me and like, he makes me extremely uncomfortable. And I'm like, he just asked. There's just no fluff in the question. And that's what I love. I hate fluff. I'm high D, high I. So my long-winded question is like, how do you, because I understand your coaching style and who you are and how you run a business. There's no fluff. It's straight to the point. There's no bullshit. Yes, you laugh and joke around, have some fun, but when it comes time to work, it comes time to work. That's a turnoff for a lot of people, I find, in our industry. So how do you figure out who wants to be in the John Picco world of real estate, of high accountability, high work ethic, but a lot of leverage in a lot of places that will help you grow?
Yeah, you can find out really quickly, actually, if you're aggressive enough with people. Generally, generally when you sit down and you ask them, scale 0 to 10, or what are you willing to do to have success? The people who will generally say, I'm willing to do anything it takes. I have no choice. I can't lose. Trust me. I will do it all. And then you hand them a phone and go, here's a lead. Could you just give them a phone call for me right now? And then they just completely fall apart. You know what you're going to work with them because no, you're not willing to do whatever it takes. Now, there's lots that goes into unpacking why that's the case, right? One of it is looking good. Everybody presents the best version of themselves that they can think of in a job interview, that type of thing. That's why trials are really good. Bringing someone in, sit them at your table, have them try. Are they willing to? You'll know really quickly when you're at a training session and everybody's clicking and everybody's on board, but somebody wants to keep distracting from the topic. They want to keep interrupting it, telling stories, talking about things that are anything but leaving time for us to get to what's happening. You
Right.
can generally find really quickly because when you have a powerful group that's working, they will start to an eye roll and they'll want that to stop. So the group sort of accountabilities itself to shutting some of those things down. And that's the
Right.
beauty of the system that we've got now, where it's not just me that's accountable. I've got 3 people internally on the team now who are coaches, and they do their own weekly training, and I do my own weekly training for the full group. And they're getting multiple types of coaches. It's not just me. So if Jason Paul comes on board and connects with me, but a Jamie Green comes on board and he connects with Megan, then maybe he doesn't get a whole lot of me and run for the hills because I'm too much for him. Um, but on the flip side, he still gets the same processes and procedures and stuff like that that works. So we've created a system now where we do understand that not everyone is everyone's cup of tea because the reverse works too. If you're talking to somebody who can't be held accountable and isn't coachable and is not open minded, I'm feeling the same OG in return that they're feeling by my high accountability and wanting you to try. The funny part of the group is once you do try, they're the most rewarding, biggest cheerleaders you can imagine. So it blows up for you. The minute you give it an effort, it blows up. But the minute you want to slow the bus down and keep putting a stick in the spoke of the wheels, they'll eat you alive. So they want to be producing. So that's why the table is so important. They want to cheer for you, they want to be producing, but they don't want you to then take it and poison the soup. And when they're all in the kitchen working on this soup and somebody keeps sprinkling a little poison in there, they're very vocal about it. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a good maintaining system in itself. Will people come and go that don't want to be there? Yes, of course. And will people come and go that we thought we wanted there and we didn't? Of course. And that's just the nature of people because you're trying to figure out, are you actually giving me the version of you you're talking about? Are we coaching you the way that you understood we would coach you? The beauty of having it already operational now is you can have those conversations. And if it's not the right fit, it's no longer a devastating, feels like a breakup conversation.
Right.
It's one where it's like, I think we both can agree that this probably isn't what we both want, right? But we
Right.
don't we don't need to resent each other. We don't need to wait until we're telling stories of how much we can't stand each other. why don't we just be friends? And if you ever need anything, you can call. And if we ever want to do anything together, if you want to come to a social event, just for the way that we operate and you want to operate, we just don't line up. And a lot
Right.
of people respect that a lot. So as much as it might seem like harsh accountability, you find it with the work ethic really quick. Once you just lay it on the table and go, great, you're willing to do whatever it takes. Show me.
Right. So, okay, here's now I want to get in the operation side of that real estate team because I'm very curious how you structured this. So you have you at the top, you run the team, you're the team owner, of course. How much coaching are you doing now for the 14 agents?
So every Monday, religiously, we've got a session at 10 o'clock every Monday. And then there's three coaches internally. So Justin, Megan, and Terry. And they each have the full team divided up into three mini groups.
Okay.
So when you join our team, you immediately go into the Monday schedule, but you immediately get assigned to mini group with a more intimate setting. The reason for that is twofold. One, Justin, Megan, and Terry are awesome, and they deserve to have a place that I wish I would have had when I was on the previous team. So now we start to do a callback to I didn't
Yep.
want to leave my team. I don't
Yep.
want any of them to feel like they have to leave to get more either. So they get compensated for what they do, and they do it well, and they've earned it. Then on the flip side, we double down on the training. So you get a full team training, which I will run. Those can be a little bit distractive and loud if you don't rein it in. That's why the mini groups are really awesome. If you're a more quiet person and you want more intimate training and you don't want to be interrupted by 10 high eyes who just eat the meeting alive, and you want to be a more introverted type who really wants to work on something but you're afraid to jump in, well, now you get that too.
Right.
So we're offering 8 training sessions a month at a minimum.
When you say 8 training sessions a month at a minimum, so one of the newbies, you got 3 new agents. They're doing your weekly meeting. They're in with Megan, Justin, or Terry. For how many times a week are they with them? So
Once
let's say I'm with Megan. So I got
yeah,
you on the Monday with the full team. How often am I with Megan?
you'll have Megan weekly as well at whatever session Megan's
Okay.
booked. So let's say it's Thursday at 10 o'clock. You'll have me and a full session Monday at 10. You'll have Megan and a smaller group at Thursday at 10.
Okay. And then you offer an additional 8 minimum sessions throughout the month.
No, those 8 will be the 8
Okay.
that you have access to. So
Okay.
that's the minimum that we do. Sometimes we do throw in other sessions as needed or if they're requested. Sometimes we'll throw sessions out to the entire industry. So we just hosted a session at a building downtown a few weeks ago where people really wanted to talk about closing skills and opportunities of how to actually move things forward and objection handling. So we hosted a session down there and did personal invites for like 40 people with or without our brokerage and did a session there. So we do lots of extracurriculars as well because oddly enough, I mentioned I like coaching and training, well, so do my coaches. So people want more of it, right?
Right. Okay. Okay. So for someone new who's coming into your team, they're going to get 8 sessions minimum a month, right?
Mhm.
If now, do you guys have a set mandatory number of deals transactions a year that they have to do as a new team member?
Yeah, when they
So
join, we want to get them
right.
in production first, but we typically want people in a calendar year to do 15 as a minimum.
Because that's where Jamie got that number. Because
Yeah.
he did 14.
Yeah. So we did 15. You know, one a month, and not knocking anybody who's not doing one a month, but if you've never been in an environment to teach you how to do a deal a month, it's not that hard to find, and it's not a real heavy grind. You're mostly just getting over yourself, and your ability to go for it is all that's holding you back. But once you can get to one a month, getting to 2 or 3 a month is really easy because it's just repetition of what got you to one. So getting people out of the gate is the biggest thing. So we set 15 for them to have something to shoot for because it makes people nervous to go from 0 to 15. They think, God, can I? Am I going to make it? And they're on high alert and they want to do stuff. But I also think it's something that should be held in reverse accountability for the team because we should be able to get you to one a month relatively easily based on what we feel you'll have
Right.
access to. So that's skin in the game for us as well to say this is where we expect you to be from us and for you.
Okay. When you say from us, because at EXP Con 2024, you presented. And we know each other for a few years, but that was the first time we actually got to spend some real time together. And I went to your session that you were in charge of, which was teams. And I think you made the entire room take an audible gasp when you said, I run a team in Newfoundland. We have, I think at the time, 11 agents were under you, I think at the time, plus a full-time admin, and we do not guarantee leads. And the whole room was like, hold on. Because in real estate, when you are a rainmaker or you are a team lead, if you're asking for these splits, 50-50 split, 60-40 split, 30, whatever the split is between you and your rainmaker. It's used with the caveat of we have a full-time admin, we have systems in place to help you, we have a brand that's established that you can lean into and take a part of, but we also give you leads because every agent always hates lead generating. It just seems to be the thing that every realtor has one thing in common. It is they hate lead generating. So you guys do not guarantee leads. You run a team of 14 agents now. So when you said something earlier that made me think about this, when you said we think based on our models and our systems and what we have, we can get you to 15 deals a year. But you said we're accountable to that too. So how are you accountable to that if you're not giving them leads to help them get to 15 transactions a year?
Yeah, so it's the whole give a man a fish, teach a man to fish kind of
Okay.
thing. So if we have people who are struggling or falling behind, and this is ironic timing, that this past Monday we actually said coming into this new year, now that we got some new people and they need to figure out these systems, our Monday trainings, every second one is going to be just straight lead generation now. And you can hide if you want. We'll know that you don't belong here. But if you do belong here, bring your stuff. You're going to try different methods. We're going to isolate the blocks that you're going to work, but we're going to teach you. And I'm willing to sit in a room with a Jason Paul and listen to you make a phone call. I'm willing to read the messages that you're sending to clients. I'm willing to help you interact with them when they get back and forth to you to try and close them down. And if I can give somebody that, then the confidence that they get builds so sky high that they could walk into a Tim Hortons and ask the person serving them, "Do you have a referral for me?" And they can ask the table of four people who are talking about their retirement plans and downsizing, "Hey, I would love to be your agent. Could I help you sell?" Once you build that confidence, it gets really easy because leads are everywhere. The notion that you just got to buy them and give them to somebody, I get it. Um, I would prefer free leads to just fall from the sky and land in my lap pre qualified as well. It really takes the work out of this business. It doesn't make me vulnerable because now I don't really have any fear of rejection because the hard part's already done. I get the safety and security that comes with not having to try to be rejected in this business. Yet there's something really, really powerful when you teach people how to do that because I think that's what's created the good coaches in our team. So
Right.
if we're teaching people how to list homes properly, how to close leads properly, how to work with buyers properly, and then we put them in charge of agents on the team who are underneath them, then they no longer need the leads for it because they're making more money by being better at the job. They're making more money by now coaching and training the agents underneath them. That door is open for everybody in perpetuity underneath them as well. So if we
Right.
want to add five more agents, but we don't have the leverage, well, we need a virtual assistant and another coach promoted internally. Let's do that and let's continue to grow. And I think once people realize that the skill set is the door opener, that the free leads were a light switch that you could turn on and off, in 6 months' time from now, you're going to be on your own because you think you got it in the bag now.
Yeah.
And I got to start fresh with a brand new person again. And then I still got to teach somebody how to work the leads and stuff like that, and follow up and put expensive systems in place for them to chase them. If I just give them the confidence to go out and do it on their own, they generally respond really, really well. It's a heavy time investment for me and the coaches on the team to make sure that those people get there. It's a lot of training. And that's why a lot of teams aren't training multiple times a week, but that's why we don't guarantee leads. Now, I'm at a stage in my career where if a lead falls from the sky today, one just came in this morning, I'm going to give that out to the group and I'm going to give it to one of the people who are working the systems the best, who shows up the most with the best work ethic. It won't be a lead that goes to the person who's like, just give them a bone. It might be the thing that gets them going. If they're anti get going,
Yeah.
until they're ready to get going, the lead will get gone to someone else. Right. So it's really, you're going to get out of this what you put into it. But
So
there's an extreme confidence that comes with teaching people how to do this job.
you don't so your foundation for your team is we're going to teach you, we're not going to lead you to water, we're going to teach you how to fish.
Mhm.
To give you the skills and the confidence to make it in this world. So you said something interesting there where you don't guarantee leads, you don't guarantee production, but if you're doing the work, we will support you with the leads that come into the team just systematically because you guys might get cold leads from websites or cold leads from sign calls, whatever it is, but we will give you leads. We can't guarantee them, but we will. But if you're doing the work, here's the thing. You also something that's really interesting where I have never. I've been doing this for 8.5 years. I have never recommended real estate for anyone ever, ever. I've never told anyone being like I've never told. I think actually the first time this year was the first time I was like you should do this, and the reason being is you touched on it here is I find 9 people out of 10 crumble under the idea of rejection. that's where I think the rubber meets the road. When you say, I'm interviewing you, here's a lead, call them right now and convert them. Like that's where you'll see every potential salesperson just fall off a cliff. So by what you talked about there, your Monday sessions and your Thursday sessions with Megan, just for the example here, your job, by my understanding, is you are literally trying to get them to get over the fear of rejection as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and teach them what to say, like literally feeding them what to say in a scenario where something went wrong. Whether that's listening to calls that they're making or whether it's like if you joined our team tomorrow and said, you know what, I like being in front of people. I'm going to go knock on doors just like I'm a political campaign and I'm going to look for listings. And I genuinely want them. I want to earn their business. And I'm terrified of knocking on that door and what that person's going to say. Well, either me or your mini team coach is going to go, when are we going? Because these are
Oh,
people who walk the walk. So you're in Justin Russell's group and you go, Justin, I want to knock the East End of St. John's. Justin's like, no problem. Tomorrow? Thursday? When are we going? How often are we going? How many doors are we knocking? He's not going to go, let's prep for this and then hide from you. He'll
right,
probably get you to walk with him and knock on the first 10 himself.
right,
So, like, when I go back to that confidence that's there for people who, like, when you teach them how to do this job, the doors that opens are amazing. And then the confidence is amazing. I could give somebody a lead and they could make potentially a paycheck by default because it's a pre-qualified thing. But if I teach them to be epic winners in any difficult scenario in this job with confidence, they'll appreciate that far more. And then the leads just come easy. Like there's always lots of leads. It's really, really easy to find leads in real estate. People treat it like it's some entity that, how do you have access to the leads? Where did you get the leads?
yeah,
You know, it's not like watching an episode of The Office where they give them the pink slips. They're like, who's got the leads? Right? Leads are everyone, everywhere. Yeah, they're going to hide from you. You're a salesman. They don't want to be sold, but they're all homeowners or prospective homeowners or want to be homeowners. And they do genuinely want somebody who's good at the job, who knows what they're doing to take them through the process with confidence when the time comes. So
right,
even if they find you repulsive and greasy because you work in sales, they will generally become advocates and friends and repeat clients. If you genuinely come from a perspective of, I've worked really hard to be really good at this job, so now I want to interact with you and do that good job for you, people respond to that really well. So there's a method to the madness of teaching people to be capable instead of just sending them out with no knowledge and a lead, hoping that the person just decides to buy.
right, right,
Right. So
right,
we
right.
love that system so much more, but it's a heavy time investment.
I was gonna say, my okay, glass. You've gone from your glass half full, and I appreciate that too because I'm a glass half full person too. The pessimist, which you hear this a lot from team leaders and other business owners, is, well, why would if I teach them how to do this, they'll just go do it on their own.
They might.
So is that not a worry for you? I know it isn't because I can tell by your personality you don't care. But at the beginning, when you're giving everyone the keys to the kingdom and how you operate business, how you make 75 ends, were you ever at one point worried that they might go and do their own thing and be successful?
At the beginning, yes. At the
Okay,
beginning, completely terrified of it, lack of confidence in myself of rebuilding. Actually had it happen, had a great agent named Nicole, who now has a team of her own and is kicking ass. That's the right place for her to be. Younger me was like, this is, I'm removing 40, 50 deals from my team that only does 80. I'm like,
right,
holy shit, what a backwards thing. You go home and talk to my wife, and I'm like, what am I doing this for? This is like, what am I doing this for? Now it's no, it's not like that now. If you talk to somebody now who does 30 or 40 units and they don't belong at your table and they go, whether they don't fit or they want to do their own thing, the answer is good luck, right? There are some people who you wouldn't want to part with. And there's a difference in that. So if somebody wants to go do their own thing, generally, leading up to that, it probably wasn't a fit anyways, because they would have built their own thing within your system.
right,
And the system is open ended that if somebody wants to approach me and have a coffee tomorrow, I'm not threatened. Just like I'm not threatened if somebody from another brokerage wants to talk to my top agents and recruit them. They'll always call me and they'll probably make up a game plan to try and reverse recruit them. Right. So it's, I love the mentality of the people. There's nothing threatening to be had now. I didn't always feel that way. It was threatening at the beginning, and you make mistakes and you make bad choices and you have regrets based on feeling threatened was wrong. And it's probably why it didn't grow fast at the beginning.
right,
But now, like if somebody is destined to do their own thing, it's probably because their vision of what it should be is completely different than yours. So you
right.
can't make them fit within your system because they want a different system entirely. No different than
Mm,
when maps didn't line up for me and I wanted to do something different. It wasn't a fault of maps and it wasn't a fault of mine. We just weren't the same.
right.
So now I'm not threatened by that. So when you look at people like a Nicole who's absolutely destroying it at Keller Williams still with a team of her own, that's the right fit. That was the perfect fit. Nowadays, if you have somebody who you don't genuinely want to lose and you have a vision that lines up, you create a bigger world inside yours for them that fits what they want inside yours, and they will want to stay if they're happy with your system.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. When is the time that this has come up where someone may have been feeling stifled or they maybe want something bigger and you had to create something in your team that could help them grow more?
Well, it's sort of where the mini groups came from to
Okay.
start. And now there will be growth beyond that too, which are already in conversations with people. So
Okay.
people want it to be bigger. If you pitch them a vision that you want something really cool and really big, and they buy into it, they're going to hold you accountable in reverse to that to go, remember you said this would be really big. When's it getting big? So that's the beauty of having sharks and hitters in your group as well that buy in. Because they're like,
Right.
"Hey, just reminding you, dude, it was supposed to be big a while ago, and it's not that big yet.
It's still the same.
Still small." So that's perfect. That's what you want. So those conversations are always ongoing. And I actually pride the group in the fact that they don't ever feel like if they're home talking to their spouses and they're like, you know what, I think I'm bigger than what's happening right now, but I don't feel like I need to go in and quit, nor do I feel nervous going to John and saying I'd like to talk about something bigger. And I
Right.
think that's a really good spot to be, and I welcome like that type of stuff is what gives me goosebumps. Instead of getting a call where it's like someone yelled at me and my deal fell apart because I forgot a piece of paperwork. Instead of those things, I get really fired up when a hitter goes, "I want to talk about something bigger." Now you're like, "No, that's not threatening. Somebody wants this to be bigger. Let's go."
Let's go. Okay. Okay. So now I want to get into the number side of this because you've run a successful team, you've built it from the ground up, you've had a great career. I'm curious now. You mentioned Megan, Justin, and Terry. I haven't met Terry. I've met Justin and Megan. Um, when you got them on the team, what was their production at?
So
Any
Justin
idea?
was a brand new agent.
Okay.
He was working a part-time job. He had sold one house in his calendar year working a part-time job, and
Yeah.
then we asked him to join. So then the year after he joined us, he was just under 30 for his first year with the group. Terry joined the minute she got her license. She was actually doing some esthetician services with my wife. And my wife's like, she called John. He's in real estate. Once the appointment was finished, I had a conversation. She literally had just passed her exam and
Okay.
she joined us. She's been with us her entire career. I'm probably going to get this wrong now, but she's probably at the 8, 9, 10 year mark, something like that. So she's been with us the entire time. And she's awesome. She she also had a part-time gig that she was working when she first joined, which at the time we were taking part-time people pretty frequently to try and convince them to go full-time. Um, so in her first year, she did 8 or 10 or something like that, her first 6 months, and then when she dropped the other job and went full-time, she did 35, I believe it was, in her first year full-time.
Okay.
And then Megan had punched a year and a half or 2 years at another brokerage. We connected. She had done 26 deals, I think, in her first year, and
Okay.
now she's 4 full years in now, and she's gonna hit 70 plus this year.
Okay. Are Justin and Terry still at around 30, 40, or are they now? Because now they're coaching in the team as well. So are they still punching around 30, 40 a year? And I ask this because we have realtors listen to this podcast who are new and older, and they may be trying to start their career in 2026 and maybe trying to look for inspiration of like, okay, maybe someone who's thinking about being a realtor right now who's going to listen to this when it comes out. You're coming out Christmas Day, by the way. That's just the gift I'm giving to the world.
Thankfully, nobody will be watching.
Yeah. Um, but someone who might be thinking about getting in this career and wants to understand how the business really works. So I only ask I'm not a units guy myself. Like I use it as a metric to gauge performance year over year, like anyone else, like your batting averages or your scoring. You're a soccer fan like I am. So like, oh, I scored 20 goals last year. I'd like to hit 25 next year as a way to just keep yourself accountable to your skill set. Um, but I'm asking about units for that context of like, okay, when Justin came in, did one, hit 30, what's he at today? Do you have any idea off the top of your head? Because we're finishing the calendar year.
Yeah, they're hovering around the same marks that they would have been. They think a little bit differently than the typical agent, and that's probably part and parcel of why they're a coach as well. Is they have a certain income value, family lifestyle that they want to live. So, however they get there, if they get there on volume, if they get there on units, yet both of them are really good. So is Megan at challenges internally. So our group is really famous for, hey guys, who wants to do a 4-week challenge and see how many units you can write? And that they all love that type of stuff. So they'll do that on their own without me even cheerleading them on. So
Right.
sometimes you'll get them, they're already at the units that they wanted to produce. Like Megan's goal this year, I think, was 50, and she's at
Oh,
70.
okay.
And that's because like somebody threw out a challenge and she's like, I don't lose challenges. So
I'm gonna. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. But she is she? I saw a post your post yesterday or the day before. Is she undefeated in your sales challenges this year?
yeah, we do challenges throughout the years just for a cheesy WWE style belt. And it's really good fun and it's meant to be cheerleaders of each other, but they just did a 6 week challenge. So Megan came to me and said, I'm going to take all of December off because I'm past my goal. I said, cool, take December
Yeah.
off. You've earned it. You wanted to do 50. You were at 60. Take December off. And then somebody threw a challenge out for a 6 week challenge and said, let's just see how many units we can sell in 6 weeks. So Megan sold almost 10, I think, sold 9 in 6 weeks. And she's like, I guess now I'm shooting for 70. But it's all because somebody was like, let's just do one more challenge because we think they're fun. So it's like when you get the right people, like it's not those typical conversations that team leaders are complaining about all the time. That are like, man, this is such a drag. And this
They
one
won't
wants me to
use the
give them more.
CRM. They won't call the leads. They won't do the job that we're hiring to do. Their
Now that
conversion
still
rate.
exists. People
Yeah,
still
of
don't want
course.
to call leads and they still
Yeah.
don't want to use CRM. Just make that clear. That exists everywhere all the time. They don't want to track. They don't want to be organized. Um, but that's part and parcel of if they're doing the production, you could put the systems in place to help them with that.
Give me okay. You guys do sales challenges. So give me an idea about this belt. How did this belt come into existence? Because I'm fascinated by this. So
Yeah,
whose
no, it's
idea
just
was
a
this?
it's a cheesy ad on social media. I guess I was watching wrestling with my kids or something and then doing real estate things. So my algorithm was showing me all the cheesy shit you could buy. And I saw it one day and you could customize it with your logo. So I thought, you know what, let's throw this out there and see who wants to wear this thing. And it went over really well. And people love it. Like Justin was our first winner of it. And he would come in with a portable speaker and he would rock like ACDC or something and roll it into the sales meetings and it would play before he'd get to the door and stuff like that. And like, it was really, really funny. We'd have meetings. Sometimes we'd host them at a coffee shop. So you talk about my personality and being too much for people. We would sometimes we hosted a meeting one time at a coffee shop in the area Megan works. She doesn't work in the city. She's about an hour outside. So we held a meeting at a coffee shop there, really small town. Everybody knows everybody. And we're like, you better wear that belt to the meeting. Right. So let's go somewhere public. You have to walk through the bakery with it on. Uh, and like it's embarrassing, but they can't get enough of it. So it's been really, really fun. I cannot stress enough how fun something as mundane as a little cliche or a little cheeky
Give
gift.
me Give me what was the last 6 week challenge like? What are these challenges like for these? How many have you done this year? Do you think like 5, 6, 7? Because if you're doing 6 weeks at a time, you can't do one every
Yes,
month.
some were longer. Like the start of the year will go a bit longer because it's so seasonal here. Like I know everybody has seasons of real estate where spring is busy, fall is busy, summer and winter are slow. But like we're already buried in snow. So like if we stay this way, we're going to be pretty slow for January and February by default. So it's kind of unfair to give somebody a 4 week challenge because they might sell zero.
Right.
Right? It happens.
Right.
So we'll probably do a couple of months challenge to start the year off, and we'll mix it up. Sometimes we'll do a spinning wheel where we're going to pick two. So it could be something like every unit sold gets a point, but if you lose a deal, a point comes off. Then we'll spin the
Okay.
wheel again. It might say volume. So let's say it says 250K volume. Well, we'll say for every $250,000 worth of volume you sell, that's 1 point. So if you sell a
Okay.
home and it's 480, you get 1 point. But if you sell a piece of land that's 20 after that, that's another point because you're at 500.
Right. Right.
So we'll do different types of things. Sometimes they're contracts signed, like maybe you're not working as diligently as you should with your buyer leads. And
Right.
instead of having customers, you want clients now. So you sign them to a proper contract so that they can hold you accountability for the work you're going to do and you have them as a client and all the good things that come with that. Maybe contracts are worth a point. So we'll do different things. Usually it's production based because that's the most important thing for people and it's the easiest thing to track. It's hard to put a point system on, who's doing the most charitable work this month. That's
Yeah.
a hard thing to put a point system in place for, but we will also give this belt out at the end of the year and we'll call that our realtor of the year. And that person is based on everything. So maybe personally they're crushing it, maybe professionally they're crushing it, maybe there's a bunch of things they want to do. So it's just funny how those things go hand in hand. A lot of them are other multiple business owners in different senses, or they're investors, or maybe they've got big weight loss and health goals and things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll give the realtor of the year out to people for all of the above in their entire
Right.
life. And that way it's an even playing field for everybody to win. so that it's not too intimidating for the person doing 20 units to go, I'll never catch Megan, so I'll never win anything.
Right.
It's not like that. You'll have your day in the sun as well if you want to get it.
You've got your opportunity if you're killing it too, because it's not just yeah. Okay. So for these sales goals or sales targets, is it always just unit based? I know you said like sometimes it's volume versus units, but is it always based off of sales? It's not like a lead generation number, like who can generate 100 leads in 2 days, like a bold. You know what I mean? Is it always just sales based? We try and keep it into how many units can you get under contract? How many units can you close? How many units can you get conditionally sold? You know what I mean? Is it always based off of what the units are per
For the
se?
most part, yes, because it's the easiest to track. The lead gen one, it's really easy to fabricate. So
Yeah.
we need something that we can actually hold them to. So sometimes we'll actually do a challenge. If it's a longer one, they'll only count if it's in by a certain timeline and if it's financed already. So if we have a finance letter saying it's firm, if it's not a firm deal, if you write one in your inspection and your finance letter happens the day after the challenge, oh, your point doesn't count. So
Right.
like we're encouraging people to move them forward, get them firm, get their deadlines in place, have solid deals. So it's also helping them out in return, but it's
Right. Of
mostly
course.
sales based for the most part because if I do a lead gen challenge and I say whoever does the most numbers, let me know. Everybody's going to report tomorrow. I spoke to 6,000 people yesterday. And you know they didn't, but they're going to
It's
say it.
it's the bull 100 metric. How many
Yeah,
people?
yeah. It's like their first day of Bulb, and they go, "Everybody do some lead gen," and they all
Yeah.
pick up their phones and they run out to an office and close the door so you can't hear them. They're like, "I dialed 97 people." So you didn't dial any. So it's hard to track that one.
Yeah. I guess the proof is in the pudding. If you're doing the work,
Yes,
you will always see sales.
you will.
So just to, because I'm going to wrap this up soon. I'm curious about my last thing that I want to touch on is the teams. You're killing the team. That real estate team is great. You guys are hitting. How many units are you going to finish the year at?
I don't know what's going to close. We're getting a bunch that are pushing, and
Okay.
like come the 19th or so, most law offices here will be shut down. I won't. We should do another episode of this just talking about how hard it is to get clean title in this province and
You
how
can. You're welcome back anytime.
it's it's if I explain to realtors what it's like trying to get title here and close transactions without any online system or digital system whatsoever, it's just I can't even begin. So we have a lot of delays and fast closings are really tough for us.
Okay.
So this next week is going to determine, but we might have 20 or 30 dangling in the ether right now that could all close this year and our numbers will be great. And if not, 2026 is looking hot already. Um, but I would say we're roughly around 300 closed right now, and if
Okay.
we're going to finish somewhere between 3 and 330 probably as a
Now,
guess.
now you just brought on three new agents. So a team of 11 did.
Yeah, well, we had a couple of people who were with us that aren't with us anymore now, who did a couple, and then some of the new people came on, so they replaced some others. So the numbers have stayed relatively the same. So even if we've got some new people now that are just getting going, we had some previous people that were already going before the departure.
Right.
So combined there, it's probably yeah, most people, with the exception of the really new people that we've added, and even some of them have already done 5 and 6 units in a couple of months span. Um, most people are easily killing that 15 a year minimum, and a lot of them are doing 2 a month and above.
Okay. All right. All right. I was just curious what the numbers look like. Now, for you, you've touched on how much you love coaching. Are you now strictly just coaching the team, or do you offer coaching in other aspects? Are you taking on other people from different brokerages, or do you offer coaching as well, or you just all hands on deck for the team?
I would do coaching. I've had some people reach out to me and go, "Would you? Is this something you're interested in?" And depending on the person and what their goals are, and again the coachability factor, I'll put it this way: I'm not advertising it as a business for people, everybody to sign up for, because there are so many things ongoing that I do find it demotivating if the person who wants coaching is also unwilling to be coached or try. So I leave that caveat out there that if somebody reaches out to me and they want a good accountability partner and they want to practice systems and they want to coach, I am absolutely interested in talking to them in a completely unadvertised sense because I don't want it to be to the masses. Because I'm personally protecting my own headspace to go, I'm at capacity for trying to get people to try. If you're already in the mindset of I will try and I'm going to try, the second we start I'm all in, then I'm all in. Uh,
Right.
but if that's not the precursor to how we agree to that, then I have to be all out because I just don't have the mental headspace to have more people tell me why they can't. People who can't are so easy to find. So I don't want to look for more people who can't. And what I mean by that is, it's
No,
not
no,
that they're incapable, it's that they're choosing to have reasons instead of
it's
results.
it's funny. I say the same thing. I literally I've said this to my wife. Like we'll be at an event somewhere, and I do it all. She hates me for this. She'll be like, "That person was really nice." I go, "You know what? I can't even." And she's like, "Why?" I go, "Because they can't. I don't even want to talk to you because you tell me you can't. Like I don't. Even, that doesn't even fun for me. Like,
It's tough. Yeah, if you're at capacity and you got I can't express enough to people because you'll get this in real estate a lot where people go, somebody didn't spend that much time with me, or my
right,
mentor didn't teach me much, or my broker didn't train me much. And sometimes the harsh reality of it is what did you give them to even motivate them to want to reach out to you all the time? It's not a difficult world in business to find people who get a high off of teaching somebody who wants to crush it. Sure, there's
right,
people who are threatened by it and they don't want to help you because they're threatened by it. Yet there's a lot of really secure people, but they want to be motivated by the person that they're talking to. They don't want to leave that conversation demotivated, either being told they're wrong or that they're old school or that doesn't work or the reasons why you can't. Well, I can't tomorrow because of this, and I can't start on Friday because of that. We say in our meetings all the time, it's going to rain someday when you're lead generating. So maybe you need a backup plan if you're door knocking, or your car is going to get a flat tire someday. You can't quit because your car got a flat tire and go home and sulk all day. Like you have to be willing to try. So that's my view on coaching now is I'm all in on people who want to try and would happily work with anybody if they think I'm the right fit. And if they're unwilling to try and they just want to talk about the reasons why they can't, I've heard all of those reasons so many times. I cannot hear them again.
okay. Last question before I get out of here because I'm actually curious about the practical side of this. So practical is being my wife just got her license back in May. She has a coach. She has her own coach because I refuse to coach my wife to keep our
It's probably
marriage
a good
healthy.
call.
Probably a good call. I learned from Jamie.
Yeah, but here's the caveat to make her feel good. What if she's 10 times better than you and you're her ceiling that she doesn't get through, right? No, that's another tough conversation.
Yeah. Just brought on 3 agents. You got them for coaching with for the example, Monday was with you and the whole team and then the whole team, and then you got them with Megan on Thursday. On those coaching sessions, what are you focusing on to get them to generate leads and to generate transactions up and running as quickly as possible? Like what are the tangibles, practical things people can do themselves starting in January to get them up and running for 2026?
The first thing is very quickly prepping your language skills is what you want to say to people. Like there are tried and tested things that you could say to try and find leads that want to work with you. And a lot of people are unwilling to say it or they'll fight you on it. So they'll say things like, but that doesn't sound like me. So the very first thing is often trying to teach people exactly we want you to sound like a high producing realtor, not like you. So this is the purpose of why we want it to sound this way. But it'll get ingrained and it'll sound like your version of you the second you start repeating it. So
Right.
getting people over that hurdle of actually saying the thing they're supposed to say is perfect. Once they're ready for that, which hopefully doesn't take very long, it's literally putting them into motion. So finding out wherever you're going to work. We don't actually have a bias. If you want to be Instagram king or queen, if TikTok is your thing, if door knocking is your thing, if farming and open houses is your thing, we don't care. As long as you do it right and you do it consistently, you will crush it in any of those ways that you want. And the really top agents have a couple of those things that they do and they repeat them and it equates for a good year every year. So as long as you're willing to repeat the process, we don't care what your process is and we're willing to work on that with you. So isolating where you're going to work and how you're going to work and then scheduling it into work. And that's our number one thing is let's get it in the calendar and let's start rocking it out. So if you go to a Justin and say, I want a door knock, Justin's going to go, when are we going? And the reason he's going to go with you is because if you say, I'm going to go Wednesday, and he works on a script on Tuesday and sends you out Wednesday and then it rains, you're going to tell Justin that you didn't go because it's raining, but I'm going to go next Wednesday.
Right.
Justin's going to go, not made of sugar, are you? We have umbrellas and raincoats. Are we going or are we not going? So getting people out in repetition is the number one thing. Most people will want to slow you down and say, I don't know what I'm talking about yet, so I can't possibly do it yet until I learn everything. And there is no way that someone can sit down and learn every clause and every caveat and every situation, every ordeal, every financing tactic. You just can't. It would take you years to figure that out, and you'll be broke and starved to death before that ever happens. So, our number one thing is we're not teaching you paperwork and where to download your documents off of web forms and how to piece together that. We can do that in a moment's notice if a client wants to buy. You need people to work with first and foremost before you ever hide down the avenue of all this BS that you think you need to know. If somebody asks you a question and you don't know, call me. We'll talk to them. We'll tell them if you don't know. Or feel free to tell them, I'll get you an entire package on everything you want when we get out of here, but just have some confidence. As long as you don't turn red and melt and fall apart on the floor. And like, let's just get into the motions of trying.
Right. Okay. All right. I last thing, and this is for me because I'm actually just curious. Your coaching style. You are as how what you're I've done coaching for the last 6 years, so I've had coaches in and out my whole career. Jamie was my first one, as you know. Your coaching style, you're so I love it. I love how blunt you are and how to the point you are. How did you get there? I'm just very curious. It's like, how did you? I always find the way you pose a question to be so fascinating because I find most people ask questions in a pretty redundant way. I just find them too open ended. It's always to the point, but it's always comes from an angle that I never anticipate. So I'm just curious. I like when you're talking to someone about when I'm talking about talking to a realtor or someone on your team about how are we going to successfully do this or how are we going to successfully do that? Like how do you frame it in your head to help them get the best out of themselves?
A lot of the time, it's just getting them to speak the thing they're not saying. And what I mean by that, even we talked about scripts there for a second. If you want to say a script on a phone when you call somebody, the first time you say it shouldn't be when you call them, because what if it sounds horrible? You need to say it out loud. In your head, it sounds amazing. And then you say it out loud and you sound like a buffoon. So you need to get it out and hear yourself saying it to see how it sounds. This is kind of the same thing that people will always hide somewhere because they're nervous about jumping in. It's not that we don't care that they're nervous. We do. I get nervous. There's situations in real estate to this day that if I have to call a certain person or a certain personality type or something's going wrong, I feel the same nerves. They don't go away. It could be a heightened sense of this might be confrontational. I don't want to make this call, but you have to make it. So sometimes it's those things where here's a perfect example. You get somebody new who's joining now and they're making a game plan, they're getting ready to get started. And the first thing they say is January 1st, I'm going to hit the road running because everybody is new year, new me. My very first question is why January 1st? Like it's the 10th of December. We got so many days right now. Why January 1st? And then they have to actually open their mouth and tell you that they don't have a valid reason. They just picked it because it sounds great. It's a comfort blanket. And and then it's not so much an open-ended question. It's I really need you to tell me why you need the comfort blanket. Because you're gonna waste 2 weeks where you could make $10,000, but you're wrapped up in this broke ass comfort blanket. Like, right?
Right.
So sometimes it's actually just saying the thing in your head that you think is a great plan, and someone says, explain it to me, and you go, I can't because it's really stupid and I'm gonna be embarrassed to say it out loud. If we can get over those things, you generally will take off running so quickly. So I'm willing for them not to like me. I do have a lot of good friends in this team and a lot of people who would go to bat for me and think that I'm great. And I've got a lot of people who think it's just too much. I don't want to tell everybody every single thought and everything I have. But the second that you can look in the mirror and go, this is the thing I'm thinking, let me say it out loud to you. The second they say it, they go, that's a really stupid thing to say, isn't it? It's like, well, it's up to you if you want to wait. And you can wait.
Yeah.
No, we don't have a reason to wait, but we can make one up and we can wait if you want to.
We can make just pull it out of the hat,
Yeah.
spin the wheel.
Or you could do it now. And you get lots of examples. I talked about Nicole, who was one of our first agents we had. Her very first deal in the business was, I'm going to start my lead gen tomorrow. So she was quick. And then I said the same thing. Why not try somebody today? Do you have any plans? And she said, no. So she started calling. And one of the people she called was a friend of hers whose brother was looking at a house. And when she got his number and called, he had already seen it once with the listing agent. He had another appointment booked for today to go see it. He didn't have a commitment. He agreed to commit to Nicole to be his agent. She then had to make the call to the listing agent, say, hey, there was a cross communication. He's actually my client, wants me to go. Don't bother showing up. I got you covered. He bought the house that day. It was like 650 grand. And at that time, those years ago in real estate in Newfoundland, 650 is a big deal. It's still a good
Yeah,
purchase price here now. It's well in excess of our average, but it was a really big deal at that time. And was all because if she had waited till tomorrow, he would have bought it with the list agent. So
unreal.
I like stacking up stories like that because I know they're rare. It doesn't happen to everybody. There's stories of people like me who are 2 months in and doesn't have a sniff at anything productive whatsoever. I wish I
Yeah,
had the Nicole story. But the person who wants to wait till January 1 is giving up all those opportunities of people who are prepping to list in the new year because chances are those sellers are new year, new me.
yeah, yeah, chances are. Oh, all right, my friend. Well, I'll let you go now. I know you're busy. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time as always.
Yeah,
Um,
likewise.
I I would love to have you back for title. I would love to hear about how horrible Newfoundland is about title.
We have to have alcohol for that one.
I've drank in this podcast before.
Well, you
Um,
will on that episode. So will everybody listening.
but besides that, thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all the best, and I'm sure I will be talking to you soon. All right.
Yeah, happy holidays. Enjoy it. And I'm sure we'll be in touch, but appreciate you, man.
All right. Thank you, John.
See you,
Bye.
buddy.